Welcome back to the New News with your host Olivia Jane, where we discuss what the hell is going on around the world and how it affects the average people like you and me. Let's get into it. First up, only 4 months after the election, the new Labour Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has ruffled a few feathers as she says there's a lot less money available to them than she previously thought. And she might be right, as there is a limit to how much information rival parties can get when one political party is in power. After all, the Labour government is in kind of an awkward halfway house, as they have no more right to information than you and I, yet they soon will be the new government of the United Kingdom. Think about it. If the original government had gone on to disclose all of its secrets early on, and then by some shock gone on to win the election, the other parties would have used that information against them. So the Conservatives have kept a lot of official information shum, especially as they probably knew they weren't going to win. That's part of the game of politics after all. As for the Tories, a whole bunch of them have decided to stand in for the party's leadership elections. And given that there is a record low number of Tories in government, each nominee only needs to be backed by 10 other MPs. That potentially means up to 11 candidates, but let's hope not. Many of them still seem to be struggling with the reasons why their party lost the general election. And if their party spends so much time searching for a new leader, it weakens their role as the opposition against the Labour government. Apparently, Parliament serves the people best when there is a strong united government and a strong united opposition, regardless of which party fills which role. It's not long until the US elects their new president, and Kamala Harris has now officially been endorsed by Biden and the Obamas. This means the race is between Trump and Kamala. Red versus blue. Woman versus man. Convicted criminal versus former prosecutor. Who will win? At this stage, it's anyone's game. But with Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings donating a whopping $7 million to Kamala Harris's presidential run, he has definitely given her the upper hand. The tragedy that occurred in a Taylor Swift dance class in Southport this week is beyond comprehension. What is also beyond comprehension is how, when police released a statement saying that the assailant was born in Wales, there was these rumours of him being an asylum seeker that was fresh off the boat. This in turn caused riots across Southport and even in London at Westminster as well. A huge mob decided to stage a riot outside a mosque based on false information for no reason. A lot of damage was done, a lot of police officers were injured, and locals were left to clear up their streets when they should have been left to grieve their loss. Is this homegrown hatred or cyber terrorism? Either way, 3 little girls were killed. Regardless of who this assailant is or where he came from, is there any excuse to make this appalling situation worse? There has since been rioting everywhere, including London, allegedly related to these false claims. It's a stark reminder of the dark side of social media and how false claims can ruin lives, especially the claims that circulate after a tragic news story or dramatic event. The incident at Manchester Airport, where a police officer was filmed kicking a suspect in the head, has now been shown to have some wider context that may, to some, justify this behavior. Further footage has emerged, filmed before the previous video, that shows the police officers were attacked before the suspect had been apprehended. Does the police officers getting attacked excuse kicking the suspect? Not necessarily, but in the heat of battle, especially if you've been attacked, common sense goes out the window and basic instincts take over. In the YouTuber world, Mr. Beast is as big as they come, famous for giving away a lot of money. No, I mean a lot of money. This guy gives away money to the blind, the elderly, and the average Joe. How could anyone hate him, right? Mr. Beast is under fire for the conditions that he fosters in order to create a good video. These videos make him millions, but Is he doing this at the cost of average people's lives? In his most recent filming for the Beast Games, contestants were left without their epilepsy medications to just have seizures on the floor. Women were left without sanitary products, so they just had to sit in their menstrual blood, reportedly for days. And larger contestants, stronger ones, were told to target weaker ones, specifically given names, because if these weaker ones won the Beast Games, it would not give the YouTube video a satisfying ending. Mr. Beast, aka Jimmy, has also reportedly refused to pay any of his behind-the-scene workers, like cleaning crew, lighting, and organizers, a fair wage. In fact, he told his recruiters that he specifically wanted non-union workers. This means that he would not have to pay them any benefits and he would not have to adhere to any workplace regulations. This has led people to peel away the millionaire's motives for giving thousands of people thousands of pounds and think that, maybe he's not doing this from the kindness of his heart. Maybe the stinking rich man is doing all this just to remain stinking rich. On top of all of those accusations, a longtime best friend and employee of Mr. Beast, Ava, has now come under fire for talking to minors extremely inappropriately for years. Mr. Beast since released a statement saying that he had no idea about any of it, but since that, there has been a myriad of proof saying that actually, Jimmy, maybe you did. At the Olympics, it has been controversy after controversy. First, all the players' trains to Paris were delayed minimum 6 hours because there was arson attacks. Then, we had the most nothingness opening ceremony in the history of the Olympic Games. France essentially used the opening ceremony of the Olympics to have another Paris Fashion Week. And then, they recreated the Last Supper with a bunch of drag queens, pissing off a bunch of Christians, surprising no one. They have since come out and said that it's not a depiction of the Last Supper, it's a depiction of the god Dionysus, which maybe. But how did no one look at that and think, ooh, that might annoy people? Maybe let's not. Before the games even started, Olympic coaches were being sent home for cheating via drone, and other players were being sent home by their own country because they were saying how they didn't want to win, they wanted another country to win. It's just shambles. Finally highlighting how completely out of touch the French Games has been, a convicted child rapist is being allowed to compete in beach volleyball. And not only that, he's getting a bunch of special regulations. He doesn't have to do press, he doesn't have to talk to someone, he gets his own changing area, and he gets his own special little walkout area to protect the child rapist of booze. Boo. And just to get ahead of the he's done his time, no he hasn't. This man flew from Amsterdam to England to repeatedly have sex with this minor, only getting found out when he told her that she'll have to go to an STD clinic just in case. And then he was sentenced to 4 years and only served 1 year. And now he gets to represent his country in the biggest sporting event in the world. If only he'd been Japanese and had a cigarette, then he would have been embarrassing his country. Beyond the controversy, we have seen some truly inspiring performances. Perhaps this is a note to the organisers to shorten the opening ceremony and just let the athletes get on with what they're there for. That's what the people want to see. The government has recently decided that the Royal Mint, the company which makes coins and banknotes for England, shouldn't go on to mint the 1p and 2p coins. I'm sure your first thought is, who cares? They're 1p and 2p coins. They're not worth anything. But is this the first move to get rid of cash completely? So what? Everyone pays by card now, don't they? Well, no, that's not necessarily true. People on low incomes still often find it a lot easier to budget with cash. Not everyone has mobile phones, and with poor credit scores, not all of them can go into banking. Therefore, that means no credit card and no debit card. Cash is their only option. It's also worth remembering the global cyber attack, where millions of banks and shops couldn't tap anything. Those lucky people that carried around cash found themselves, rather than being behind the times, the only ones that could afford to buy food. Even if this is the end of cash, it's worth remembering that pennies aren't as useless as you think. All over the country, people are putting their small change into charity boxes, and this all adds up and makes a huge contribution, especially to those smaller, local charity shops that are struggling to find funds. I, for one, hope the penny drops that copper coins still have value. And finally, news from the wizarding world. Apparently, the annual Back to Hogwarts event that is held on the 1st of September in King's Cross has been cancelled due to its overwhelming popularity. I'm guessing it's adults as well as kids who is looking forward to it this year. So if you are hoping for a morning off work or uni, you'll have to tune into their online event instead. Just don't let your boss catch you, or you might find that your job disappears. That's it for the new news for now. See you next time for some views on the news. And if there's any particular subjects you want us to cover, upload to metv.net. Bye!